The story begins in a futuristic world where there is nothing but snow. Humans once built massive machines to control the weather. However, those machines eventually malfunctioned, leaving the entire planet frozen under endless ice. The few remaining survivors now live in underground bunkers called colonies. Inside one of these colonies, an alarm suddenly begins to sound. Two terrified men are seen running through a narrow corridor, trying desperately to escape. Something extremely dangerous is chasing them. They run until they reach a door, but unfortunately the door is locked. They try to open it, but it refuses to budge. Before they can escape, their pursuer catches them and kills both of them. Meanwhile, in another colony, a man named Sam is repairing a satellite dish outside in the freezing cold. While working, he notices several people carrying a sick man out of the colony. The sick man begs them to give him just 1 day to recover, but a man named Mason refuses to listen. Mason believes they have already wasted too many rations and resources on the sick man. Ignoring the colony's rules, Mason immediately points his gun at him. According to the rules, the sick person must choose whether to take a bullet or walk out into the snow to die. Sam quickly intervenes and reminds Mason about the rule. He tells him that the sick person must be allowed to choose his own fate. The rule must be respected. However, Mason shows no sympathy. He shoots the man on the spot and claims it is necessary for the survival of the colony. When Sam returns inside, he realizes how difficult life has become for everyone in the colony. The residents live in a very confined space with extremely limited resources. Because of this, they are terrified of even a simple cold. The last time the flu spread through the colony, it killed 20 people within a single week. To prevent such disasters, their leader Brig created a strict rule. Anyone who becomes sick is immediately sent into quarantine. According to the rules, if the sick does not recover after quarantine, they must choose between two options. They can either take a bullet and die quickly, or walk out into the endless snow. Either way, death is unavoidable. Despite these harsh rules, the people in the colony work tirelessly to survive. They support each other and even try to grow seeds for food. But their population is no longer what it used to be. Every year, food and resources continue to decrease. Rumors often spread through the colony about a distant place where the weather is warm and beautiful like paradise. However, Sam believes these rumors are nothing more than stories. Sam later goes to leader Brig and informs him that Mason has broken the rules by killing the sick man by force. Brig is not pleased to hear this, but at that moment, he has a much bigger problem to deal with. Both of them rush to the communications room. There, Cooper delivers some terrifying news. He says that he has been receiving a continuous alarm signal from Colony 5. However, no one from that colony is responding to any of his messages. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Brig immediately announces that a meeting will be held in half an hour. Meanwhile, Sam goes to see Victor, who is responsible for taking care of the animals in the colony. But the situation there is not good either. Victor explains that the rabbit's last litter was stillborn. Now they have only 12 rabbits left. Among them, only one is female. The biggest problem is that the other rabbits refuse to mate with her. This means the food shortage in the colony will soon become even worse. Meanwhile, Brig goes to confront Mason about his reckless behavior, but Mason shows no remorse for what he did. He defends his actions by saying that people who go out for the long walk will eventually come back and consume the food they left behind. Later, Sam goes to meet his girlfriend Kai. Kai is busy taking care of the plants and the food supply for the rabbits. She firmly believes that the weather control machines are still buried somewhere beneath the snow. According to her, those machines might still be capable of working. Refusing to give up hope, she continues scanning the area with her radar device to find the machine. A short time later, everyone in the colony gathers together for a meeting. Dexter quietly tells his wife several times not to cough in front of everyone. He does not want anyone to become suspicious. When Sam walks past them, his sharp observation quickly makes him realize that both of them are sick. Sam interrupts them and tells them to go back to their rooms immediately. However, Dexter becomes nervous and tries to change the subject. He claims that both of them are completely fine. Just then, Brig arrives and informs everyone about the alarming situation in Colony 5. He announces that he will personally lead a team to investigate what happened there. Mason immediately objects. He argues that they should not waste their men and resources during such a difficult time. But Brig ignores Mason's protest. Brig then asks Dexter to join the investigation team. Sam already knows that Dexter and his wife are not feeling well, so Sam volunteers to take Dexter's place and join the mission instead. He explains that Dexter should remain behind to take care of the colony's turbine system. A young man named Graydon also volunteers for the mission. However, his father Victor strongly disapproves of the idea. After forming the team, Brig assigns Sky to take charge of the colony while he is away. Suddenly, Dexter's wife sneezes in front of everyone. This causes immediate panic inside the room. People quickly cover their faces in fear and begin stepping away from the couple. Dexter and his wife are immediately taken to quarantine. Mason once again complains, insisting that they should be tested right away. Brig angrily scolds him and declares that no decision about them will be made until he returns from the mission. A brief scene then shows a young boy struggling to walk through a violent snowstorm. He fights against the powerful wind while moving forward. Suddenly, he sees his mother lying dead on the frozen ground. The sight shocks him completely. At that moment, Sam suddenly wakes up. It turns out this was just a nightmare about his mother's death. Kai comforts him and reminds him that what happened in the past was not his fault. The next day, the team team begins their dangerous journey. They must walk for many miles through endless frozen snow and powerful icy winds. As they pass through an abandoned old town, they discover an ancient weather vane. For a moment, this discovery gives everyone a little hope, but unfortunately, the machine is broken and no longer working. After traveling further, the team eventually reaches an old bridge. They carefully prepare to cross it. The bridge had been abandoned for many years and was now in terrible condition. Crossing it was extremely dangerous and could cost them their lives. As they slowly move forward, a part of the bridge suddenly collapses under Briggs's feet. He quickly steps back just in time. If he had been even a second late, a disaster could have happened. When they finally reach the other side of the bridge, they discover a car parked nearby. Next to the car lies the body of a man with a gun still in his hand. When they look inside the car, they are shocked to see the man's entire family lying dead inside. It quickly becomes clear that the man killed his own family before taking his own life. He likely did this so that his loved ones would not have to suffer in this frozen nightmare. After walking for many miles through the snow, the three men eventually discover a crashed helicopter. They decide to stay inside it for the night. Graydon has never seen a plane or helicopter fly in his entire life. Because of this, the sight of the helicopter surprises him greatly. While resting there, Briggs contacts the colony to ask about the situation back home. Cooper informs him that Dexter and his wife are getting worse. Mason continues insisting that they should be tested immediately. Hearing this, Briggs firmly tells Cooper that if Mason tries to take control or cross his limits, he may have to use force against him. Later that night, while they are talking, Graydon finds an old magazine inside the helicopter. The others tease him about it. Briggs then explains that this is the same place where he found Sam many years ago. Hearing this, Sam begins telling Graydon his story. He explains that when he was a child, his family and several other people were hiding in old mining tunnels. Eventually, their supplies ran out completely. They were forced to eat their dogs and even their horses just to survive. After that, Sam's father and a few other men left for the nearby town to look for help, but they never returned. Soon, people inside the mine began dying one after another. Seeing the situation worsen, Sam tried to take his mother and younger sister somewhere safer. Unfortunately, they were caught in a powerful snowstorm. During the storm, they became separated from each other. Sam never saw his mother or sister again. He explains that if Briggs had not found him that day, he would have died there as well. The next day, the three men finally reach Colony 5. They are immediately shocked to see bloodstains outside the main gate. As they enter the colony, they notice a strange smell of smoke in the air. When they walk down the stairs, they discover even more blood. It is the same corridor that was shown at the beginning of the story. The colony was supposed to have around 50 people living there, but the complete silence makes the situation even more disturbing. Briggs hands a gun to Graydon. The three of them carefully begin searching the colony. In every corridor they enter, they find blood on the walls and belongings scattered across the floor. At this point, they become convinced that no one could have survived. Suddenly, they hear a strange noise coming from a locked room. Sam immediately breaks the lock on the door. When the door opens, they see a man lying on the ground inside. They slowly move closer to him, but suddenly the man starts screaming in fear and begs them to spare his life. The man's name is Leland. The three quickly assure him that they are not enemies and that they will not hurt him. Leland begs them to close the door again before they give him any food or water. He had been trapped inside that room for several days. He had no idea whether anyone else in the colony was still alive. Leland explained that a few days earlier, the colony had repaired its antenna and received a message. He then began playing that message for the three of them. A video appeared on the screen showing a man standing in a place where there was no snow. The man explained that his group had successfully repaired a weather control machine. After fixing the machine, the frozen ice in their area had begun to melt. Now they had fertile land where crops could grow. All they needed were some seeds to begin farming. Unfortunately, the video suddenly cut off before revealing the exact location of the place. Leland continued explaining that they tried to follow the signal from the message. They even dug a tunnel in hopes of finding the warm area shown in the video. The team from the colony had sent them on this mission. However, they never managed to find the place. Instead, something extremely dangerous discovered them along the way and followed them back to the colony. Sam asked Leland to mark the location on the map where they had traveled. Briggs then promised Leland that they would take him safely back to their own colony. But Leland was completely terrified at the idea of leaving the room. The three men collected whatever food and supplies they could find. Finally, they decided to leave and attempted to take Leland with them, but suddenly, they heard some horrifying noises echoing through the colony. Leland became so frightened that he ran back into the room and locked the door again. Now, Briggs, Sam, and Graydon had no choice but to continue without him. As they moved deeper into the colony, they began hearing disturbing screams and loud banging sounds. Soon they noticed the flickering light of torches ahead. When they got closer, the sight before them shocked them completely. They saw a man cutting pieces from a human body. Around him were the corpses of many colony residents. Several other people were sitting nearby and eating human flesh. Suddenly, the butcher noticed their presence and rushed toward them to attack. Sam reacted instantly and shot him within a second. The gunshot noise alerted several more cannibals who had been hiding among the pile of bodies. Their leader screamed loudly. Immediately, they all began chasing Briggs, Sam, and Graydon through the corridors. Sam shot the cannibal leader in the ear and killed another attacker, but there were simply too many of them. To slow them down, Briggs threw a stick of dynamite toward the pursuing group. During the chaos, Graydon accidentally became separated from the others. Before he could escape, the cannibals surrounded him and attacked him. Briggs and Sam rushed back and fought the attackers bravely. They managed to kill several of them one by one, but when they checked on Graydon, it was already too late. Graydon was dead. They did not even have time to mourn his loss. More cannibals were already chasing them. While running up the stairs, Sam shot another cannibal, but soon he ran out of bullets. Briggs then broke part of the staircase to slow down the attackers. Unfortunately, another cannibal was already waiting there. Briggs fought him in a brutal struggle. After a tough fight, he managed to shoot and kill him. Soon the rest of the cannibals arrived. Their leader saw the dead body of his companion and screamed in rage. As Briggs and Sam escaped, Briggs threw another stick of dynamite at the main gate. The explosion destroyed the entrance tower and completely blocked the path leading into the colony. After escaping, the two survivors continued walking across the frozen land through the deadly cold. When they eventually found an old helicopter, Briggs decided they should spend the night there. The temperature was dropping rapidly, making it too dangerous to continue traveling. While sitting inside the helicopter, they began discussing the cannibals they had encountered. Briggs said that when humans struggle to survive, they can end up doing terrible things. He then shared a story from his time in the army. Briggs explained that during one crisis, nearly 20,000 people had gathered inside a stadium. Soldiers were distributing food, and doctors were trying to treat the sick. However, once the food supplies ran out, the situation quickly became chaotic. People who had weapons began taking food and supplies from the weaker ones. Eventually, the senior officers were forced to make harsh decisions about who could be saved and who could not. At that time, Mason was serving on Briggs's team. Together, they eventually left that place in search of somewhere safer, where such desperation was less common. The next morning, when Sam and Briggs woke up, they discovered something alarming. The cannibals were following their footprints in the snow and were now very close behind them. Sam became worried that the cannibals might eventually reach their colony, but Briggs quickly came up with a plan to stop them. Both of them ran as fast as they could and soon arrived at the same old bridge they had crossed earlier. There, they jumped across a broken section of the bridge and placed a stick of dynamite on the narrow path. They then hid behind some broken wooden boards nearby. Unfortunately, the powerful wind blew out the dynamite's fuse. Sam stepped forward to relight it, but Briggs pushed him back and decided to do it himself. The freezing wind made it extremely difficult to light the fuse. Meanwhile, some of the cannibals attempted to jump across the damaged section of the bridge. Several of them slipped and fell straight down into the icy depths below. Finally, Briggs managed to light the dynamite, but instead of running away, he stayed where he was. He intentionally allowed the cannibals to get closer and began fighting them. His goal was to draw as many of them as possible toward the dynamite. Moments later, the dynamite exploded in Briggs' hand. The massive blast killed Briggs instantly. The explosion also destroyed the middle portion of the bridge, making it impossible for anyone to cross. From a distance, Sam noticed that a few cannibals had still survived on the other side. Even their leader was still standing there, staring at him with anger. Sam knew he could not waste any more time. He immediately began running back toward his colony. Meanwhile, back at the colony outpost, Mason had begun acting however he wanted. Ignoring Dexter and his wife's pleas, Mason forced them out of quarantine. Without hesitation, Mason shot Dexter's wife. Just as he was about to kill Dexter as well, Kai suddenly arrived and pointed a gun directly at Mason. The two began arguing about how the colony should be led and controlled. Suddenly, they heard Sam screaming from outside the colony. Taking advantage of the chaos, Dexter managed to escape. Kai immediately ran outside to help Sam. Sam collapsed in the snow, unconscious from the deadly cold. Soon Mason arrived there as well. He knocked Kai unconscious with a brutal strike. Several hours later, when Sam finally regained consciousness, he found himself inside the outpost. With deep sorrow, he informed Victor that his son Graydon had died during the mission. Just then, Mason entered the room and handcuffed Sam to the bed. Mason then announced that he was now the leader of the colony. He immediately introduced several harsh new rules. Food rations would be cut in half. Anyone suspected of illness would be tested immediately, and anyone who refused to work would no longer receive food. Sam told Mason everything about the cannibals. He warned that they needed to leave immediately and search for the warm place. Otherwise, the cannibals would eventually find their colony. However, Mason refused to believe his story. He ignored Sam's warning and walked away with the others. Before leaving, a young boy secretly stole the keys to Sam's handcuffs. He quietly slipped them to Sam without anyone noticing. Outside the colony, Mason and Victor were watching the surroundings carefully for any sign of danger, but they did not see anything suspicious. Victor then told Mason that Sam was not lying, insisted that they should prepare themselves for a possible attack. To confirm the situation, they decided to check the security cameras. Just then, another man rushed rushed in and reported that Sam had escaped. Meanwhile, Sam quickly went to find Kai. He discovered Kai tied up inside a room. Sam untied him and set him free. After that, they both began searching for the signal using Kai's computer system. At first, they could not find anything, but after carefully studying the radar again, they finally detected a hotspot. This discovery confirmed that somewhere in the world the ice had actually melted. Without wasting time, Sam and Kai packed as many seeds as possible into their bags. They then ran to warn the others about the discovery. However, on the way, Mason and his men stopped them. Mason once again tried to show his authority and power over them. Suddenly, loud banging noises began coming from the main door outside the colony. Everyone immediately panicked and rushed to check the security cameras. What they saw on the screen shocked them. The cannibals were violently trying to break down the main entrance. Their leader then held Dexter's severed head in front of the camera before smashing the device. Seeing this horrifying scene, Mason finally realized that Sam had been telling the truth. He immediately ordered that everyone capable of fighting should be given weapons. All the others were instructed to hide inside the secure vault. Cooper guided the civilians toward the vault and guarded the entrance. Meanwhile, Mason, Sam, and the armed group stood ready in the corridor with their weapons. They prepared themselves for the moment the enemy would break through the door. Suddenly, all the lights inside the colony went out. After a few moments, the lights turned back on. The main door was now open, but strangely, no one entered. Soon, strange noises began echoing throughout the colony's corridors. Suddenly, a cannibal jumped out of a ventilation shaft directly in front of Cooper. Cooper tried desperately to defend himself, but the cannibal knocked him down and rushed toward the vault entrance. Just before he could enter, the colonist quickly slammed the heavy vault door shut in his face. Meanwhile, in another corridor, a little girl had become separated from everyone else. She wandered through the hallway, searching for a place to hide. Unfortunately, a cannibal soon found her and killed her. At the same time, Mason and Sam's armed group realized something terrible. The cannibals had entered the colony through the ventilation system. The enemy soon surrounded them, and a brutal battle began. People were dying on both sides during the fight, but no matter how many cannibals they killed, their numbers never seemed to decrease. Amid the chaos, Sam and Kai managed to escape from the fight. Meanwhile, Victor, exhausted from all the running, decided to confront the cannibal leader by himself. Victor fought bravely against the cannibal leader, but unfortunately, the ferocious leader eventually overpowered him and killed him. Meanwhile, the injured Mason ran toward a secure room where several people who had not reached the vault were hiding. Mason rushed inside and quickly shut the door behind him, leaving Sam and Kai outside. Just then, a cannibal approached them in the corridor. Seeing this, one of the men inside pushed Mason aside, opened the door, and pulled Sam and Kai into the room. However, during the chaos, another cannibal managed to slip inside with them. Kai reacted instantly and shot the cannibal. Everyone then hurried to close the door again, but they all knew the door would not hold for long. The other cannibals had already arrived and were violently trying to break it down. Realizing the danger, Sam quickly opened a ventilation shaft. He ordered everyone to follow him through the vent to escape. Mason once again protested. He argued that if they went outside, they would freeze to death. He insisted that they should stay and fight the enemy instead. However, the others ignored him and began crawling through the vent. Sam was about to leave as well, but he suddenly stopped. He turned back and handed Mason his gun. Only a few seconds later, the cannibals broke through the door and attacked Mason. In desperation, Mason shot a nearby gas tank. The gunshot triggered a massive explosion. The blast and fire killed almost all of the cannibals inside the bunker. However, their leader survived by hiding inside a vent just before the explosion. Soon after, the ferocious leader reached Sam through the ventilation shaft. A brutal fight immediately began between them. During the struggle, a section of the vent suddenly broke. Both of them fell down into the animal room below. The fight continued there as well. Sam grabbed anything he could find and threw it at the attacker, but the powerful man was still stronger than Sam. He began beating Sam mercilessly. The cannibal threw Sam to the floor and started dragging him across the room. At that moment, Sam noticed a knife lying nearby. Seizing the opportunity, he grabbed the knife and stabbed the man in the leg. This time, Sam managed to overpower him. Filled with anger and desperation, Sam brutally attacked him. Finally, Sam ended the fight by killing the cannibal leader and saving his own life. When Sam tried to escape, he saw that the entire corridor was now filled with fire. Outside the bunker, Kai and the remaining survivors had already escaped through a ventilation shaft. They stood outside in the snow, watching their bunker burn in flames. Just then, Sam finally emerged from the wreckage and joined them. He encouraged everyone and told them that they now had only one option. They must search for the warm place shown in the video message. The small group then began walking through the endless snow together. They carried hope that somewhere ahead they would find a safer place to live. And with that hope, the story comes to an end.